Now let's jump into the next topic of the show, which is the quarterback position, and specifically Nicco Marchiol. According to On3, Pete Nakos over at On3, Nicco Marchiol expected to medically redshirt and enter the transfer portal. Now, let's be honest. Most of us probably saw this coming. I mean, was it really hard to figure it out? Now, I didn't want to come out and say it was definitely happening because we didn't know that for sure. And we still don't know for sure that he's going to enter the portal, but I would say Pete Nakos is probably on top of things. Now, he did say the expectation is that he'll enter the portal. But listen, he come up to Coach Rodriguez and told him he was going to Colorado to see a foot specialist. If his intentions were to stay at West Virginia, do you think he would have done that? Or would he have just talked to the team doctors in Morgantown? You know, that's the first red flag to me. The second red flag is the fact that we heard Rodriguez. Well, the second red flag to me was that he was not around the team. Okay. The third red flag to me is that we heard Coach Rod say earlier this week that, oh, by the way, now he's going to see a specialist in Colorado. And Coach Rodriguez said in his radio show that apparently they have not really gotten on the same page, those doctors in Colorado and Arizona, with the team doctors. That's another red flag. So I think we saw this coming. And another thing, like the guys on 3 Guys Before the Game talked about, I think we can do the math. If a player all of a sudden is dealing with an injury or seeing a specialist or whatever after the 4-game mark, which is a cutoff before you can get a waiver to redshirt, if you play in that 5th game, you cannot redshirt. But the fact he's only played in 4 games, he probably knew, hey, I've got to do, if I play again, I won't have the option to transfer. Or I won't have the option to redshirt, rather. And if he planned on coming back to West Virginia again, I don't think he would be jumping through all these hoops to see all these other doctors, and he might be spending more time around the team. I just my gut, just my theory on that. So not a big surprise. But here's the first paragraph of this article by NACO says, West Virginia starting quarterback Nicco Marchiol is expected to medically redshirt. Multiple sources tell On3. The current expectation is that Marchiol will enter the portal and have 2 years of eligibility remaining. Talked about how he started the first 4 games of the year. Played in 23 career games in Morgantown, stayed on to play for Coach Rodriguez, all of that. We all know that. Now, before we get into the effects of this coming game, let's go ahead and talk about Nicco. Does Nicco fit the once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer? I think so. For all the fans going after Nicco online, man, don't do that. Nicco has spent 4 years at the school, 3.5, well, you could say 3.5 seasons on the football team, basically, or at least 3.25 on the football team. Started or played in 23 games. He's 2-0 against Pitt. Okay, 2-0. That puts him in some pretty good company among past West Virginia quarterbacks. Has one of the best moments in Mountaineer Field history with that comeback win earlier this year that he was able to orchestrate in the fourth quarter. Nicco loves West Virginia University. He stayed on when he didn't have to. When he lost the job to Garrett Green twice, he stayed. When Coach Brown, the coach he was recruited to play for, left, he stayed because he loves West Virginia. Now, he's at a point in his career where he's having to make a business decision. Okay, I can stay around, play injured. I have this foot problem. And for you people saying he's faking the injury, I don't buy it. Okay? Could I be wrong? I could be, but I'm not going to accuse a young man of faking an injury. Okay? Without proof. So he's got this foot problem. You can play the rest of this season with a bad foot in an offense that needs you to be able to run the ball behind an offensive line that's struggling and only have 1 year of college football remaining. Or you can decide to redshirt, sit out the rest of the year, and leave your options open. And now you have 2 years of eligibility remaining where you might be able to go somewhere where you might feel you're a better fit for the offense. You might be able to play behind a better or an offensive line that's not struggling. You're not on a team with 80 new players in the middle of a rebuild. He's probably at a point in his career where he doesn't necessarily want to deal with a rebuild. Now, maybe he thought the rebuild would go better under Rich Rodriguez than it has, and now he realizes that it's not going well, and he just, whatever. You have a right to your opinion. And look, let me know in the comments. Do you think Nico deserves the once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer mantra? I personally do. Now, do I like the way he's handled this whole thing? Not necessarily. But again, coaches are allowed to leave in the middle of seasons, or not leave middle of seasons, but you get my point. Coaches are allowed to leave. And now on some teams, you've probably got coaches interviewing for jobs in the middle of seasons because you've got vacancies at Virginia Tech, UCLA, now Arkansas, Stanford. You don't think coaches or at least their agents are talking to these teams in the middle of the season? They would have to be. You would think, if they want a chance at the job. And now we're in an era where players are getting paid too. It's a business. Whether I like it, whether you like it, whether any of us like it, it's a flat out business. And he's at a point where he's like, you know what? I have spent my entire college career doing what's best and being loyal to West Virginia. It's now time for me to be loyal to Nico Marqueel and look out for my future. And who knows, there's a lot of speculation on where he'll end up. Some think he may go out west and play for Arizona. Who knows? Any of that makes sense, really. Skylar Callahan actually has an article up on his site about potential landing spots for Nico. But, I don't have I have no ill will towards Nico Marqueel. Thank you, Nico, for the time you gave to West Virginia University. Thank you for putting your heart and soul giving it your all and laying your heart and soul out there and on the line for West Virginia, laying your body on the line for WVU and the program and the state. Hopefully your love for West Virginia never wavers, man. Thank you for the great moments you gave us, the wins over Pitt, the great game against Arizona, and the run last year against Oklahoma State where you flat out ran over one of their best players. Thank you for all those memories, man, and I wish you well wherever you go. No ill will toward you, young man. So now let's talk about what's going to happen at the quarterback position at West Virginia. First and foremost, who starts this Saturday against BYU? The speculation was it would either be Jalen Henderson because of his experience at the P4 level already, or it would be Khalil Wilkins because of what he showed us last week against Utah. Well, according to the most recent player availability report for the BYU game, it won't be Jalen Henderson because he's also ruled out for the game. So it comes down to what? Max Brown, Khalil Wilkins, Scotty Fox. Max Brown, he's also on the availability report listed as questionable, so he's banged up. And he hasn't played hardly any this year. He's only played a couple of snaps. So that leaves us what? A redshirt freshman in Khalil Wilkins and a true freshman in Scotty Fox. Who gets the start? My gut feeling tells me it'll be Khalil Wilkins because of the poise he showed last week, because of the way he played last week, and he just seems more ready. But I would not rule out both quarterbacks playing in this game. Could we get another Pat White moment where Khalil comes in, balls out, or Scotty, for that matter? Or does West Virginia continue to have struggles finding a quarterback that can run the offense as effectively as Coach Rod wants? We will see on Saturday. Definitely going to be a tough situation, regardless of how you slice it. Putting a young quarterback who has never been a starter in this situation, in that environment, 10:30 p.m. kick in Provo, Utah, one of the most hostile environments in the country, the high altitude, in front of 60,000 loud fans on national television. Tough spot to be in for a young football player. But maybe, just maybe, one of these young men has the it factor, and they can go out here and have their moment. I'm excited to see it, to be honest with you. I'm excited for the newness. I'm excited to see somebody else take snaps behind center, to see what they can do, and to see whoever it is, whether it's Wilkins or Fox. I think it'll be Wilkins. Do we have the future quarterback on the roster? I think we could potentially, we may not learn that in this one game, but we could. But it could also go the other way. They might struggle. It'll be hard to tell. And you look, the offensive line, Nicco Marchiol is listed. I think he's listed as probable right now on the latest report. But we saw Coach Rod go to some of the other linemen, the backup linemen, Donovan Haslam, Josh Isosa, Malik Agbo, however you pronounce it. We saw him go to some of those guys. They played well. Carson Lee played pretty decent. So some of the backup linemen, and Coach Rod said he would likely continue to play those guys more. So is this finally when does everything finally start to come together for the Mountaineer program? And as far as the future of the quarterback position, like I said, we could find out whether the future quarterback's on the roster, or maybe they take that extra $3, $4, $5 million, whatever it is that Hoppy Kercheval talked about on his show yesterday, and maybe they go out and use that to land a top-notch, elite quarterback, a 5-star like guy, like we saw when JT Daniels came over. Now I know that was a bust. I get it. But this is a different staff, different time. Maybe they go out and find that next star quarterback. They get the next Will Grier. We'll see. Or maybe they like what they already have and what they have coming in the freshman class next year. Maybe they think one of those guys is the next future star. We will see. But I want to hear what you think about the quarterback situation. Let me know in the comments section. I want to give a quick shout out to my paid VIP channel members of this episode. The random shout outs go to T Jinx 048, Chris D, Cody Cutright, Henry of Scallots, and Virgil Milburn. Thank you all for being paid VIP members of the channel. If you want to be a paid VIP member, hit the join button below. If you don't see one on your device, go over to my channel homepage right beside my logo / profile photo. You will see the link to join. It tells you the perks that go with each one, which includes the random shout outs. If you're a $4.99 level member, you will get early access to several of my videos a week, or at least a few of them. And obviously all members will get first dibs, first priority in live streams in the chat. Thank you for those who are already members. Also want to give another shout out to my sponsors, DraftKings and Appalachia Digital. Thanks to the folks at Rogue Media Network, Rogue Sports Network, and 365 Sports. Please go check out the 365 Sports newsletter at 365sports.video. I'm blessed to be a part of that team where you get all your Big 12 content in one place. You can get videos, you can get written content, all of it right there at 365sports.video. Get your 365 Sports newsletter. There's another video on the screen right now that YouTube thinks you will like. Click on it. Oh, and if you're listening on podcast only, by the way, thank you for listening. Please give us a 5-star review and please follow us. Hope the rest of your day is top shelf. God bless. Q Country Roads.